Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah Blackwell and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books that I need to unhaul. So it has been a long time since I have done an unhaul, and specifically I don't think I've ever actually even done an unhaul on this channel. So this will be my first unhaul and I am looking forward to getting into it. If this looks a bit different, I had some issues with the beginning of my video, so I am just refilming this intro real quick and going through a couple of the books before I jump back into the pre-filmed footage. But if you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Please go ahead and comment down below and let me know, are any of these books a mistake? Should I be keeping any of these books? Also, please be kind. I know everyone has different tastes. So there's going to be books on here that I severely disliked. If you really liked them, that's wonderful. I'm very happy for you. And also, do please let me know if there's any books on here that I have not read that you think that I should maybe put off unhauling. Maybe I should actually pick those up instead of unhauling them. So let me know. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get into this video. But first we have here Caraval, Legendary, and Finale. This is a trilogy by Stephanie Garber, and I really actually enjoyed this trilogy. I gave every book in this trilogy 5 stars. It's a fantasy romance trilogy that follows two sisters who go to this local kind of competition that's kind of caravel or carnival-esque, and they get caught up in this competition, and one of our sisters has to basically rescue the other, and it's really cool, really fun. I think it's just a really great YA fantasy romance series. Has some wonderful descriptions of food, so I think it's really great to read in the fall. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. The only reason I am unhauling this series is because I don't think I'm ever going to read these books again. And if I'm not going to read them again, I don't feel the need to have them on my shelves. So I'm just gonna go ahead and unhaul them. I don't think I'm gonna read them again, so I don't see the point in keeping them. Next year, I have a YA fantasy romance that I have not read, and that's Girls Made of Snow and Glass. This is a sapphic polar fantasy romance, and I've heard it's really good, but I'm not really reading much YA anymore. If I am going to be reading a YA fantasy book, it's going to be one that has a lot of hype. Maybe it's just coming out and it has a lot of hype, or it's going to be an older fantasy romance series that basically all of my friends have read, and I just have FOMO about it, and I have a lot of friends that I'll be able to discuss the series with. And this just doesn't follow in either of those categories, though I have heard good things about it. I don't think I'll be picking it up. Next I have Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell. I think I gave this 3 or 4 stars. It was cute. It's a middle grade, and it's really, really adorable. It's like all about girl power, and girls can do just as much as you can do. And this like Polar Bear Explorers Club that goes and explores this Arctic region of their world, and there's all kinds of magical creatures, Arctic creatures, and it's really cute. And I am saving this book for my kids, and this is also a representation of a lot of middle grades that I'm taking off my shelves right now, and I'm putting in my kids' room because they are coming close to the age where I can start reading them chapter books. So most of my middle grade and kids books are going in there. They're leaving here, and I don't want to go through all of those because that's just a large list. But no, if it's a middle grade, it's probably over there now and technically unhauled, but I'm still keeping. So this is a book that I was really intrigued about. I've not heard anyone talk about. It's The Architect of Song by A.G. Howard. I've not heard anyone talk about this book, but I found it at my local used bookstore, and it's a ghosty fantasy romance, so paranormal romance. And it looked really good, and even looking at it again, I'm like, but maybe, but no, yeah, I could keep it, but yeah, I won't be reading it this month. I just don't think I'm going to pick it up. So I'm going to go ahead and unhaul it. The next book I have is a book that I just read, and that is The Wolf of Oren Yarrow by K.S. Veloso. This is a fantasy, and it's the first book in a fantasy trilogy. It was originally either self or indie published, but it's been picked up since by Orbit. And this is a Philippines inspired or Filipino history inspired epic fantasy series. I think that some people consider this to be a grimdark series. I DNF'd this book almost exactly, I would say exactly 50% into the book, about 200 pages in. I DNF'd it. I really absolutely could not connect to any of the characters, especially not our main character. I couldn't connect to the world because I felt the world building was pretty poor. And I felt like the plot, and I'm not even a plot driven reader, but I honestly felt like the plot was awful. Things were just happening to our character, and she was just like tumbling through a rabbit hole basically, and not in a fun way. I know that a lot of people enjoy this book. In our book club, we recently had a live show for Femmes Afictionados about this book, and no one adored it. I think I am the only one that DNF'd it, but if you want to learn more about our thoughts on this book, there was a lot of people in the comments that really enjoyed it too. So to learn more about the book, and if that's something that you might be interested in, you can definitely check out the live show. I will have that linked down below in the description. Next, I have The Dinner by Herman Koch. This is supposed to be like a thriller, and there's this young couple and their parents, and this synopsis just looks like so boring. I'm just not at all interested by this synopsis. And so I think it's just like family drama. Next, I have Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. From reading The Girl on the Train, which I think is her most popular book, I realized that I am not a fan of her writing. And honestly, there's so many other thriller authors I could be picking up right now and that I'm interested in, and books that I want to read, that I'm not gonna take a risk right now if I want to pick up a thriller, because I don't pick up, like, I read such a large variety that I'm not picking up, 10 thrillers a month. So I don't see myself picking up a thriller that's a risk that I won't enjoy it. I want to pick up thrillers that I really think I'm going to adore. And I DNF'd The Girl on the Train. I did not like it. I didn't like the writing style. I don't think I'm gonna like Into the Water. So I'm just gonna go ahead and unhaul it and send it over to my local used bookstore and maybe get some store credit for it. Next, I have book 1 and 2 in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I am not at all interested in Western fantasy or flintlock fantasy or either of those things. This was actually my husband's, and he tried it and he did not like it either. So there's no point in keeping them. I know it's very popular, but I have zero interest in. Next, I have The Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This book, I guess, is about a girl who works at a convenience store, and it is a very popular literary fiction. I think it was a translated work. I really wish I could read it, but honestly, this was a gift from a family member, and from a few years back, and I don't read literary fiction. I absolutely hate literary fiction. I don't read it, and that's nothing at all against this book. I just don't like that genre.
I hate it. I just don't like it at all, and it's terrible.
Next, I have The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I already talked about this when I talked about Into the Water, and I DNF'd this book. I did not like it. I felt like, I can't even remember. This was a while ago. I will have the vlog linked down below in the description where I read this book and I gave you my in-depth thoughts about why I DNF'd it, because I actually don't remember. I just remember I absolutely hated it. Next, I have Beach Read by Emily Henry, another book that I DNF'd. When I did first DNF this book, I soft DNF'd it because I thought I might pick it back up. But then after kind of giving it some thought, I realized, no, I'm not going to pick it up. This is not the kind of romance that I reach for. This is more of a serious romance. And when I do pick up romance, I'm looking at it as something just light and easy, a popcorn read. And that's just not the kind of book that this is. This is a very serious book about our main character, who it seems may have a little bit of an alcohol problem. She has recently lost her father. She goes to this beach house, and there is a romance that develops between her and this other author, and they decide to basically write each other's books. But that's just not the kind of book that I pick up when I'm looking for a romance. Next, I have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Now, I feel like if I had done a worst books of the year list, this probably would have taken the number one spot. I absolutely hated this book, especially the ending. I thought the whole book was boring, and I thought that the ending was awful.
Worst.
I feel like I don't really have to go into much synopsis about this book because it is so popular. There's been a famous movie done based on it with Ben Affleck. But this is a domestic thriller where a woman goes missing and her husband starts to be investigated because they are trying to figure out where she went and they think that he seems a bit sus. I absolutely hated this book. Next here I have a couple books that were my husband's as well, and he didn't want to keep them, so we're unhauling them, but I figured I'd show them to you. It's the Novice trilogy, which is a YA trilogy, and I think that it's basically like a YA fantasy with like mages, and I know my husband was really into it because the main character uses archery, and my husband is an archer. I don't know if that's what you call them. He does archery. He shoots bows. I know nothing about this series because, like I said, it wasn't a series that I read. This was a series my husband read, but he also did say he really, really enjoyed it. So there you have it. I have Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is a literary fiction novel that I won't be reading because I don't read literary fiction. And I actually just don't know how I ended up with this because this is my father's copy. It says here, like, I don't know. It's my dad's copy. So I guess I'll be giving it to him the next time he visits me. Next, I'm getting rid of Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk, and I've read it a long time ago. My husband's read it a long time ago. It's quite problematic, and honestly, like, I'm never going to read it again, and I'm just not interested. And finally, I have another YA fantasy in here. That's Three Dark Crowns. This has gotten rave reviews from a lot of booktubers, but honestly, once again, I don't think I'm going to pick it up. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I am unhauling. This certainly won't be the first unhaul of the year. I think there will be probably another one coming in the next few months. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. All of my social media is linked down below in the description if you want to follow me on Goodreads, Instagram, or Twitter. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.